Welcome to part 4 of Learning How to Reassess Your Chess by Jeremy Stillman, 4th edition. Diagram 30. In this diagram, white has a strong attack and black has nothing up his sleeve. In the actual game, white moves. Here, it helps black to make a tight defense and lose the opportunity to attack. What white should do instead is to find a home for his knight, and e4 is won. A philosophy goes like this: chess is a team game. If possible, make sure every piece joins in the battle. This is only possible because the pawn moved to e4 thanks to the knight. If your knight is a lazy piece, then you should find a square to an unbattled sector, and if your bishop is locked by a brick wall, then move it somewhere where it eyes up diagonals or break open the brick wall. Position is better for black. White has a king side and central space. On top of that, a powerful bishop on e2. With black having a weak pawn on b5, it seems that white has achieved victory. But instead of saying, "I'm doomed," black decide with, "I must fix this." Black has a queenside advantage and a point of attack to c2 and a3. And so, black plan is to move away the burdened knight that keeps the queen tight and put pressure on these pawns. Here we have examples of some ugly replies. Important nuance to push the enemy king into a corner. This means back rank threat appears and the king will have a slower time to move in the endgame. Now that the students have understand knight basics, one must be aware how to put knight into battles. Though it may not be easy, but it all starts from the awareness that 1. There is a problem, 2. Address the problem. You must insist on solving it. Willpower is the thing that allows you to insist these elements into some form of positive reality. A philosophy goes like this: if one of your minor pieces isn't earning its keep, put the lazy thing to work. In this case of a knight, wishful thinking won't get it to that dream pose. It's up to you to figure out a way to get it there. Awareness leads you to the fact that c6 would be a hole and f5 would be a stronghold. White has a central pawn majority which gives him central space advantage. Black also have a castle which gives white to think that black won't start a fight. Thus logical move for white is instantly targeting the two potential homes. Now, white white gain access to c6. The c6 knight paralyzes the whole black army, giving them a pleasant task. The knight went to the 8th rank. It rarely goes there, but it's not a big deal. The knight poses a double threat to check to f7 and queen takes a8. Remember, chess mastery is a mixture of knowledge, awareness, and willpower. So far we have studied how a knight should be used, but now we're going to study how we shall combat such creature. Anti-knight strategy. Knight will lose a lot of their pop if you can take away all their advanced support points. In this position, white will enjoy placing his knight on f5, but unfortunately for black, he wouldn't be able to place his knight on the desired f4 square, and on top of that, white is in control of all sides, and the only way to break open the position is on the queen side, when clearly white dominates it. Black also has an awful dark square bishop. White will trade off his weak-like square bishop for black's. White also has planned this before as he moved his like square bishop outside of the pawn chain. The example, it is seen that black's knight are useless as it can't be placed on an advanced square. The knights are hopelessly sitting there while the enemy rooks infiltrate the position and trap the queen. Something to note here is that holes are useless if enemy pieces can't enter it, and our beloved knight that we've been studying have a lot of weakness: the anti-knight technique, its short-range ability, and its moral enemy, the bishop. This is the right move. It stops all the knight movement, and the pawn is gonna promote to a queen. This is a form of knight domination. In this diagram, we will see how the knight will be caged by the enemy pawn. Here e5 and g5 are off limit, and h4 result in a material loss, and the knight have been sealed. Black will win easily because white is equivalent to losing two pieces, the knight and the king. In this position, the pawn on f2 and g3 are acting like traitors and turns the knight into a poor non-entity. White as well might resign. most common knight domination is when enemy pawn take control of a key jump off point and leave the knight with nothing to do. The black knight on h5 wished to make a home on f4, but all hopes were gone when white moves g2, g3. However, the knight on b7 lives a hopeful life and have prospects on c5, where if it's chased by other pawns, it can move to e4 or chop the bishop on d3. But white moved the pawn, and the once hopeful knight has no future at all. In fact, it eventually migrated to the king side by knight b7 to d8, pawn f7 to f6, and knight to f7. As you can see, using pawns to limit knight's movement is a very important strategic idea. Step back boogie. Black seemingly have a weak b6, c5 and e5 pawn. The c5 pawn can be loose after an a4 to a5 push, undermining its defender on b6. Of course, b6 and e5 will be tender if white can bring his pieces to attack them. But how can one accomplish this? Let's take a look. The bishop is like square, thus it won't affect the enemy pawns. The queen moving to e3 seems solid as it hits c5 and gives e4 some support. Placing it on c3 might be even more better, since it eye on c5 and e5 and will make a f2 to f4 pawn push a dream came true. Knight though will be a tower of strength on c4 as it hits the queen and take a direct aim on both b6 and e5. A very shocking and non-intuitive move, but it is very logical as the knight wasn't happy on c3. Remember, a piece is only happy when it is on a square, which helps the overall game. The c3 knight might look solid, but to be honest it isn't doing anything. Thus the move knight d1 became clear, as it wants to head for c4 via a3 or d2. Let's recall a philosophy here. Chess mastery is a mixture of knowledge, awareness, and willpower. White knows and has the knowledge based on seen patterns that this kind of pawn structure could be weak, so White decided to get his piece to striking range and find maximum setup to accomplish these goals. The author actually moves a lazy bishop f1 move instead, but the move a5 destroyed black queenside pawn chain base and gained a clear advantage. In the next video, we'll look at diagram 39 to 47. It is a test at the end of a chapter.